How's everybody doing? Hope your Christmas was excellent. An early Happy New Year to each and every one of you out there. I am Don Tony. Today is December 26, 2022. This is sort of your WWE post-Raw show. We actually do have a couple of interesting things to talk about tonight. Not just an overall recap of 2022's episode today. Before I go any further, the reason why I'm wearing this shirt today, believe it or not, for those that are not aware, it was 2 years ago today that we unfortunately lost Jon Huber, as you better known as Brodie Lee and Luke Harper. So it was 2 years ago today, already 2 years, everyone. So just a little continued tribute to Mr. Huber. You will never be forgotten. Trust me, wrestling fans absolutely love the man. So, that's the beauty about being a wrestling fan in the 2020s. That footage will never be lost. You go back to the 70s, the 80s, and even little parts of the 90s, a lot of footage is lost. And especially when you go to house shows. So it's cool today that almost everything is preserved. And I know it's not really a segue, but a little tidbit I think a lot of you would want to know. Believe it or not, Bray Wyatt wrestled tonight. Yes, he did. See, a lot of people still are not aware that despite Raw being a best of show, they had an event in Madison Square Garden. We talked about it 2 months ago, that it was a WWE a live event. I don't want to say premium. Well, going to the Garden, it is considered a premium live event. But the roster was overloaded tonight. In the Garden, Bray Wyatt wrestled Jinder Mahals. It went about 3 minutes long. The footage is on Twitter, and I'm sure it's going to be on some other places as well. So if you want to see Bray Wyatt have a 3-minute squash, absolutely. Did not see the footage before or afterwards. Don't know if there was any, little mini tribute to Jon Huber. But Bray Wyatt, he actually had a match before 2022 ended. Go figure, everyone. Hey, you know what? It's better than nothing. So, and he played the babyface. Want to make that perfectly clear. Because, look, think of the storyline, where it's going to go. Uncle Howdy is the evil side of Bray Wyatt. Now we're going to get the good side of Bray Wyatt, and they have yet to call that good side Uncle Harper. It's only fitting when you really think about it, read between the lines. But that should be happening within the next couple of weeks at the most. And then, we see where it goes from here. But Bray Wyatt actually did have a match today. So now, look, this episode is going to be super short. I'm not getting into match by match as far as what we saw tonight. This was a highlight show filled with a bunch of interviews. We got some cameo appearances from Cody Rhodes to Bianca Belair to Sheamus, Sami Zayn, having a couple of memorable, lighthearted, funny moments. Street Profits, I thought they were hosting the entire night tonight. They opened up the show, and, it was fun to see them in the beginning and talking about some of the early highlights from WrestleMania, some of the returns, talked about Steve Austin. We got a little technical difficulties. And then our overall hosts for the night was Jackie Redmond. Wait, that's a little better. Jackie Redmond and Corey Graves. We talked about the host yesterday. Heard it was Corey Graves. Michael Cole was not there today. So it was Jackie Redmond and Corey Graves. They did a fine job. And look, nothing earth-shattering coming out of the appearances by various people. Probably a couple little noteworthy points today. Drew McIntyre is going to be back soon. Drew McIntyre wants to fight Gunther in 2023. That is a pretty damn good match that I really never even thought about all that much. Now you'll hear someone post, our sources tell us that WWE is considering Drew McIntyre versus Gunther at WrestleMania 39. Also, Cody Rhodes, he's going to be back. And he didn't come right out and say it, but he did say, fans could read between the lines he is coming back and he wants to get right back on schedule. He wants to win the WWE Championship. And as we've talked numerous times before, we brought it up again yesterday on the sit down. The perfect scenario for me is to have Cody Rhodes win the WWE Championship, Seth Rollins win the Universal Championship, and then obviously Roman Reigns gets to take a little bit of well-deserved time off. And I know what some of you are always saying, look, he doesn't wrestle all that much, but it's the mindset of having to work out every single day. I'm not saying that he wouldn't if he takes a couple of months off, but, in the fans' eyes and ears and thoughts, Roman Reigns is still a wrestler performing on TV. His character is part of an every week storyline. So if it comes to a point where he's taken off of TV for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is, that is a mental break, not only for him, but it is a mental break for fans. I know some fans will not like the fact that Roman will be off TV for an extended period of time. But once you know that's happening, then, your focus goes off the guy and you focus on others at hand. And we'll see how it plays out in the very near future. Now, something, I was going to tease it until the very end of the show, but I'm going to throw it up now. And, I know this is going to be premature. It's absolutely going to be premature, but I want to just throw this out there as, I'm curious for your feedback. All right. And believe me, this is something you want to see. Trust me. We've been teasing Podcast Forbidden Door 4, and we have done 3 of them so far. And the idea of Podcast Forbidden Door is a little casual conversation with someone that you would never, ever expect to be on, my shows. I don't do interviews, obviously. I've been doing this going into year 26. And, the running thing about me, and it's not a bragging thing, but, when I look at some shows out there and people try to rub it in my face that they're ranked higher and this and that, first of all, 85 to 90% of you out there access my shows on the audio-only side. Not everybody wants to see this ugly face. You could listen to me, and that's good enough. You're not really missing anything unless I'm posting stuff that you absolutely have to see with your own eyes. So most of you access audio only, which is not part of video stats. Another thing is that it's pretty damn cool to do this for 26 years, and whatever rankings, whatever ratings, whatever viewership, listenership that you see, that those people are tuning in for you. Not because you're going to have Bischoff on, not because you're going to have Foley, not because you're going to have this person, that person, this person. They know who they're getting and what they're getting when they tune in. So Podcast Forbidden Door is supposed to be something really, really out of the ordinary. Well, I actually have an idea, and I really need your feedback before I talk to this person. Now, I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to explain why this could very well happen. Friends, I'm very, very curious. Would you want for podcast, and listen, it's not about money. We don't do these, as far as money grabs or anything like that, obviously. But even though it may be a very short episode, what do you think about Podcast Forbidden Door featuring, drum roll please, I don't have sound effect. In fact, this person, when they see their face, they're probably going to be a little bit surprised, like, huh, what is he talking about? Oh, I will get into it. What do you think if we have on Matt Riddle's girlfriend, Misha Montana, to talk about the Matt Riddle situation? I'm very, very curious if you all would like to have Misha Montana on. Now, this is not, premature ejaculation on my part as far as, making a decision. Let me tell you why I posted that. It's not a joke. Over the last couple of days, the last week or so, I've talked about Matt Riddle. And you realize now that a lot of places that claimed that he was suspended for doing cocaine and Molly, ecstasy, which is explicitly what people put out there early on. And you see WWE television, and they're kind of like, still showing love to Matt Riddle. Usually, that's a major, let's just pretend like he doesn't exist type of suspension. Elias paying tribute, something didn't make sense. Then you realize, we brought it up on Saturday, that where those sites ran and posted it was based on a tweet by an ex-girlfriend of Matt Riddle's in the summertime. They saw that tweet, they read what she claimed, and they put that with the suspension. And then you saw how quickly so many places removed the terms cocaine and ecstasy. You accuse someone of that and you're wrong. It's not just, oh, sorry, our sources, we stand by our sources. No, you could get yourself in some pretty hot water. So something didn't make sense. And then we saw what happened over the weekend with some of his other ex-girlfriends. And there's this weird vendetta that they want him banished, fired, extricated, out of the mainstream media. I mean, they're accusing him of some pretty horrible things. I don't know if they're true or if they're not. But as I have said over the last couple of days, when you accuse assault, when you accuse abuse, and you do that publicly, and you know that there's going to be a boatload of people running with this, reposting it, reporting it, and you show no examples of it, what are we supposed? How are we supposed to just run with it because somebody makes an accusation? And not only that, when you hear some of these ex-girlfriends venting, it's more about, he lied to me. He promised me he was going to do this with me. He told me he quit this. He told me I was his only one. He told me this. And it sounds like women who may have been scorned, who may have been, dumped. And I know that's a harsh word, but the fact is that, their interpretation of being lied to and feeling used, that's dating an asshole. That's not dating someone who's assaulted anybody. And there has been zero evidence anywhere. No one has come out and specifically said, I said no, and he kept going anyway. I did this, and he did that. Yeah, all it is he lied. He said I was his only one. He said he was going to spend the holidays with me. He said he quit this, he quit that. And the worst part about it is one of the ex-girlfriends who put it out there in the last couple of days about him doing drugs again. You know what she based it on? Someone else's tweet. Everybody bases shit on tweets these days, and it's ridiculous. Now, if you notice, even on Saturday, the only person that I did not criticize was Misha Montana. She is with Matt Riddle right now. Matt Riddle posts a tweet that for the first time, he is putting himself first, and he's saying no, and he has never been more happy and this and that. You take it for face value, but hey, if she's straightening him out and he is happy, that's a cool thing. We're fans of Matt Riddle. You always want to see somebody get better. You don't want to see somebody get eviscerated, and get kicked while they're down. You always want to see somebody improve. So with all of these, and I call them, in my opinion, dumpster fires, people are accusing her of having him do this, and that's why he got suspended. So she actually reached out to me through the episode I did Saturday, and she said, talk to my publicist, and I'll talk to you. So I'm curious. Do you want me to have her on? If you all say no, we're not interested, then I won't do it. I don't do it for publicity. I'm not even advertising it. I'm just throwing it out there to see, do you want her to come on, maybe to give her side a little bit, maybe clear up some of this bullshit that's floating around? Let me know. Let me know. All right. So with that said, let's briefly talk about what we saw tonight. Now, if you follow my channel, you'll see that I updated the thumbnail like 5 times today. My original interpretation that this was going to be the best of Raw. And yeah, I probably should have thought about it a little bit further because SmackDown this Friday is not a best of. They're not going to do a best of SmackDown almost a week after New Year's Day. So my original thumbnail was clips from Raw 2022. Bold Kevin Owens, Lita and Becky Lynch having a little face-to-face in the ring, the challenge being issued, Seth Rollins and Cody, things like that. And then I realized right before we went live, no, it is an overall best of WWE 2022. And we got highlights. We were not going to get full matches. Some of these matches, you think about it, 15, 18, 30 minutes, they're not going to use up that much time for one particular match. So we got some overall highlights. Now, there were a couple of clips tonight that really weren't best of for 2022, but WWE just reminding everyone of some storylines still going on in some upcoming matches. Now, don't forget, next week on Raw, we're going to have Alexa Bliss challenging Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. That's going to be really interesting next week, and it's going to be interesting to see where the Alexa Bliss character goes following this match. Is she still, I remember everybody who was trying to convince us that, no, WWE's planting the seeds. Liv Morgan is turning heel. No, she's turning heel very, very soon. And, I'm curious what seeds you're talking about. And sure enough, no, that never happened. Next week also, we have Austin Theory defending the United States Championship against Seth Rollins. And tonight they were showing highlights of Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley. And I'm saying to myself, that's not a best of 2022. In fact, him firing, quote unquote, Bobby Lashley, I thought was rather awful. But the reason why they showed it was to remind everyone that Bobby Lashley, and they did exactly what we thought they were going to do. Adam Pearce jumped the gun. Cooler heads prevailed. It's only a matter of time when Bobby comes back to work. Now the question is, friends, does he return against Brock Lesnar in 4 weeks at the Royal Rumble, or does it lead all the way to WrestleMania? That is the question right now. Personally, I'd rather see Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble. I think it would be a lot of fun to see Brock for a brief moment getting into it with Gunther. I could see, maybe Bobby Lashley costing Brock Lesnar his spot in the Royal Rumble, maybe eliminating him. Maybe they eliminate each other. Maybe something else goes down and there's a wild brawl afterwards. I personally would rather see Brock versus Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania. And you know why I say that too? If the match happens at the Royal Rumble, then what? Who do you have Bobby Lashley face at WrestleMania? Who do you have Brock Lesnar face at WrestleMania? I know people out there, with their fantasy matches that they try to report as news, but, I don't see Brock Lesnar taking on Gunther. We talked about that match, 6-7 weeks ago. That doesn't mean that WWE's considering that match. So I personally think it's, each side has a win apiece. Have them have the deciding factor at WrestleMania. I think they should do it at WrestleMania. Listen, the Royal Rumble, everybody remembers the Rumble match. Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, even if they tear it up at the Royal Rumble and have a match, people aren't going to always remember that match. They're going to remember the Royal Rumble match more than anything else. And my God, think of the little quick interaction that Keith Lee had with Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. Oh, big boy here. Little things like that. You remember for years and years and years. And it's just, 30 seconds? But it still was a boatload of fun to see. So I want to see those two guys fight at Mania. Now, a couple of things tonight also. We didn't get any Judgment Day matches. Not everybody could be featured in a match. Edge versus Finn Balor was definitely one of my favorites of 2022. It did not make the cut this episode, but they did show the progression of the Judgment Day, which I thought was pretty damn good. Seeing Sami Zayn, doing the little skits, first talking about his match with Johnny Knoxville, which I thought was great. And not only that, what about Sami Zayn with his choice of photo in his frame? Remember, my friends, zoom in on that photo. Whoa, look at the eyes. Look at the eyes. You know, that photo, when you look at it closely, hey, that's not a very, like good photo for Sami Zayn to keep looking at and celebrating. So Sami Zayn, celebrating not only him being a member of the bloodline, but Roman Reigns continuing his record reign, the Usos making history. In fact, we even had the New Day do an interview. And I tell you, I really enjoyed the interview with the New Day, because number one, they make those NXT tag team titles feel more valuable than what they are. It's developmental. No question. I know there's a lot of people out there that still will not accept that NXT is developmental. But as you see, some stars are progressing very, very well. And to see the New Day, make those titles feel really important. Kofi Kingston also making history, the first ever Triple Crown, not only singles champion, but a Triple Crown tag team champion. I know there's a stat for everything, but that's pretty damn good when you think about it. So the fact that they're celebrating the NXT lineage with something like that, it's fine with me. Them putting over Pretty Deadly was cool. Them putting over NXT, them, reminding us the origins of the New Day, showing some love for Big E, and showing respect for the Usos. We did not get any Roman Reigns, talk tonight. We didn't get any Usos talk tonight. Sami Zayn, and obviously no Solo Sikoa, but Sami Zayn was the one that was the voice for tonight. But the New Day's interview, I really, really enjoyed. Bianca Belair's interview was great. Sheamus, there's still this idea that Sheamus lives in Ireland. If I'm correct, I think Sheamus lives in New York now, right? I mean, he got married in New York very recently. They just showed pictures of him with his new wife, and they were at a hibachi place in New York City, I think, this week. I think he lives in New York now, Sheamus. Maybe just temporary housing, but him showing his man cave today, I thought was pretty damn cool. And you know what? Pretty cool that they showed a little bit of love to Karrion Kross, because him and Drew McIntyre were the only ones tonight that had highlights really from two matches. I mean, I know they showed a little bit with Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes and Imperium and Gunther, and they mixed it up a little bit as well, but they did that by design because Imperium, all three members, are an integral part of SmackDown right now. Ridge Holland and Butch are, cogs on a wheel for SmackDown right now. So yes, if there's one match that I wish they would have included tonight, even highlights of, it would have been Gunther versus Sheamus. Clash at the Castle. That match is probably in my top 3 for the whole year still. It may end up being my favorite match of the year once we do awards. I have to think about, there's a lot of matches that are not crossing my mind right now, not just in WWE, but other promotions as well. But that match is one that I was really hoping that they would have showcased tonight. But they were more concerned about putting over all 6 members in a match. And I have no problem with that because I am a huge fan of Butch. I was a huge fan of Ridge Holland in NXT. And to see how far he has come, the fact that the WWE Universe, they haven't forgotten, but they have definitely, majority have forgiven what happened with Big E. And yes, accidents happen. Some people blame him. Some people don't blame him. People in wrestling have mixed views as far as what caused what. But the fact that people, realize that, it was an accident more than anything else. It's the same way with Saraya and Sasha Banks back in the day. Early on, there was a lot of blame put on Sasha Banks, and pretty unfair. Freak way she got injured. But as time quickly went on, fans realized, as upset that they are that Paige could no longer wrestle, they realized that, look, this is not ballet. That's an infamous line that Vince McMahon said back in the day. This is not ballet. By the way, no Vince McMahon tonight. I'm not saying he would have made an appearance. If you notice, we never talked about Vince being the best of 2022. Raw 30, still, I don't rule it out of the question. I think it's going to come down to if these lawsuits are filed that we talked about. But Vince, Hall of Fame, probably not this year. Vince, WrestleMania, definitely not. I think Vince Raw 30 is probably the best shot because it's in January and because, when we talked about Rita Marie and that other spa employee from California, they're going to file lawsuits. It's just a matter of when. They have pretty much all of 2023. I think in New York, she may have until November, if I remember correctly. So if those lawsuits are filed in early January, then I think once that publicity comes out, Vince ain't going to be spotted anywhere near WWE offices. And as time goes on, you're going to realize that all of this, noise that you have heard about, the rumors of Vince coming back, Vince wants to come back, Vince feels that he's got bad advice. It is all bullshit, everyone. It is all bullshit. And as time goes on by, you realize that it's nothing but bullshit. It's just somebody who wanted to throw continued shade his way. And look, in some ways he deserves it. But, to influence like, hey, WWE, if you're thinking about bringing him to Raw 30, don't even fucking think about it. If you're thinking about possibly bringing him back to work in the office, don't fucking think about it. And again, all this has to be discussed with investors, stockholders, board of directors, not WrestlingDickhead.com. It's funny when these things come out and it's always a, like bullshit wrestling news site. It's never, even in the financial world, you don't think that that investors, financial outlets in the stock market, you don't think they would be the ones to break the story? Hey, millions of stockholders or stockholders have millions of shares. You may want to know this, but, we hear and Vince may want to come back. No, it's WrestlingAsshole.com that breaks the scoop. That's when it's bullshit. But it's clickbait. It gets noise. It gives people to yell and scream and piss in the wind. And that's why it becomes a trending topic. And at the end of the day, you realize there ain't nothing credible with that whatsoever. So there's a lot of bad ones out, and there's a lot of good ones out there as well. We're not talking about the good ones. We're talking about the bad ones. By the way, as you saw early on today, this episode of the Don Tony Show, that is not good. Yeah, this is better. It's brought to you by Manscaped, the global leaders in making sure, your extremities are nice and clean. Not just your extremities, but your nose, your ears. A lot of us, unfortunately, like you look in the mirror and you smile, you brush your teeth, and your teeth are nice, all sparkly white. And then there's like a little hair hanging out on your ear. Or you may get a little intimate. You may want a carpet munch for a little while. You go down there and you're like, Jesus Christ, shave your thing. I keep getting this hair in my nose. And then you realize it's fucking nose hairs. It's not the other hair. So Manscaped 2023 is coming up. So, the ball is going to drop on New Year's Eve here in New York City. So when your balls drop very, very soon, you got to make sure you're nice and groomed. So I'm going to give you a little special offer later, as you can see right now. If you want to go check it out, enter the promo code Don Tony, get free shipping, 20% off. And we got a little giveaway in March. So I'll explain a little bit later on. Yeah, sinister, Mary, quite contrary. You could say it. Trim that pussy. It's so damn hairy. Oh! Kids should not be tuning into this show. Hey, saying the P word once every 6 months is not a big deal. All right, let's do a brief rundown of the matches that we got tonight that they showcased. One that's not a match, but I definitely want to mention, John Cena's Raw 20th anniversary celebration on June 27th. They highlighted that, and don't forget, this Friday on SmackDown, he will be teaming up with Kevin Owens to take on Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. That is going to be a big rating on Friday, and it is going to start a little shift in the storyline. It might be very, very subtle. On Friday, but it's still going to be a shift in the storyline nonetheless. In order, The matches that we got tonight that they showcased was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, Falls Count Anywhere from SummerSlam. We also had from WrestleMania 38, Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. We also had Johnny Knoxville. A lot of WrestleMania 38 matches shown tonight. Highlights. Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville from WrestleMania 30. I still want that mousetrap for my house. Even though I know it wouldn't work, I still want that mousetrap from my house. An interesting match choice when you think of the entire year of 2022. The Usos versus the New Day from the November 11th edition of SmackDown, where the Usos did reach the record book, surpassing the New Day as the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions of all time. Definitely well-deserved, but an interesting choice as far as the matches go. Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair from WrestleMania 38, where Bianca lost the championship. Becky Lynch lost the championship to Bianca. And you know what? I liked what Bianca Belair was talking about in her interview today. You know, you remember SummerSlam? You remember how she lost in such a short amount of time? And, you know, there was some very, very bitter people out there. It got to the point, if you remember, and yeah, let's go there. There were people out there, you know, bringing up race, you know, and the way she was treated. And, you know, a lot of people out there, including me and a lot of you, you know, let the story play out. Let the story play out. I know WrestleMania is a long ways away from SummerSlam, but in the end, Bianca Belair's stock rose so strong. You know, over the years, and I think a lot of you out there will agree with me on this, over the years, you have some wrestlers that you always feel are better used chasing for the title, not necessarily being champion. The number one example for me as a wrestling fan since 1979, yes, I am very old, is Dusty Rhodes. You know, when people say Dusty Rhodes is one of the greatest NWA heavyweight champions of all time, I'm like, please send me whatever drugs you're taking. That's not a shot on Dusty Rhodes. Add up how long Dusty Rhodes had the championships in his reign. Add up the days, and you'd be like, are you kidding me? That's all he held it for? Because Dusty Rhodes chasing Ric Flair, chasing Harley Race, chasing for the championship was an even bigger deal. And when he got to the mountaintop, people just exploded with emotion and love. And then you realize now he's at the mountaintop, you know, it's like it didn't feel the same. And he would drop the championship a very short time afterwards. So Dusty chasing the title always felt bigger than him actually becoming the champion. And look, Dusty Rhodes is one of the greatest wrestlers in my lifetime that I ever watched. Period. Dusty Rhodes is such a unique, iconic character. Love that man. I have so many shirts, not because I want likes and retweets from people who know him. It's because I'm a fan. I absolutely loved his stuff. You know, doesn't mean that he's not one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, performers, you know, characters. But as far as a champion goes, his role was not necessarily being champion. It was chasing the championship. Bianca, it's different. Because when Bianca first won the championship, before she lost it at SummerSlam, a lot of people, once she got the title, they felt like, I don't know, something's missing, something's lacking. And yes, it was overall creative, the way she was utilized, the women's division. There was a lot of factors involved. But a lot of people felt like, wow, you know, Bianca Belair feels more like it's better when she's chasing the title, not actually champion. This time around, though, it's different. Once she regained it at WrestleMania, you feel she is one of the top women on the roster, period. And it's not because Sasha is not there. You know, Sasha's one of the top wrestlers as well. But if she were to return, she isn't suddenly number one on the list. Sorry. You know, I know people, you know, you have a right to feel, you know, what you want to feel. People wanted my thoughts on Dax Harwood calling Sasha Banks greatest women's wrestler, I think, of this generation or whatever he said. He has a right to his opinion. I don't agree with it. She's one of the top, without a doubt. She's earned that. But, you know, is she number one? No. I still think Charlotte Flair is. Whether you like her or not, she's got all the tools. she's got that presence about her. I'm not saying that Sasha doesn't, but Charlotte to me, is just in a different league. And yes, it gets to a point where you kind of get sick of seeing Charlotte. Charlotte will be back very, very soon. In fact, wouldn't it be interesting if she's a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble and she ends up winning the Royal Rumble and taking on maybe Bianca at WrestleMania, or maybe Ronda Rousey? Would people want to see Ronda versus Charlotte again? I'm not so sure if I want to see it, but if you think about Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair is probably the one that gets the best out of Ronda, and they've had some stinkers, so let's be clear. But it feels different this time around with Bianca Belair. She's made it. You feel that she is very, very safe in the position that she's in, whether she has the championship or not. I don't think she needs to drop the championship anytime soon. So, getting back to the matches again, we had Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair from WrestleMania 38. We also had interesting choice, Imperium versus the Brawling Brutes, the Donnybrook match from Extreme Rules. Here we got a little bit of a twofer. First we had Karrion Kross versus Drew McIntyre, Extreme Rules, the strap match. And then they showed us from Crown Jewel. Oh, that's not it. That's it. There you go, Crown Jewel. And that match was pretty good, man. Got to give credit. That was a decent match. But we got a twofer, just to showcase a win and a loss for each one of the guys. We also had Cody Rhodes, Hell in a Cell, Seth Rollins. We saw highlights from that match. We actually got highlights of Ronda Rousey defeating Liv Morgan at Extreme Rules to become the current SmackDown Women's Championship. And the last match of the night that they highlighted, very interesting choice. Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns, Crown Jewel. Personally, if I was going to go off the air with one of the matches that was shown tonight, I probably would have chosen Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, SummerSlam. I actually would have gone off the air with that match. But hey, that just shows you how much WWE believes in Logan Paul. I mean, that was an excellent match, no question. Told a great story. Logan Paul, I mean, my God, 3 matches. And, few of you asked me, am I going to put Logan Paul in my awards? And I don't know if 3 matches is enough to be worthy, and look, there's no scientific, it's an opinion by every show has them, every website has them. I saw a website today, a podcaster, God bless him, but he's showing Wrestler of the Year. And he's got wrestlers from WWE, New Japan, AEW, and elsewhere. And he has 3 or 4 notable mentions. And he actually has Wheeler Yuta as a notable mention for Wrestler of the Year. And I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's so cute. But it's hey, you know what? He's a wrestling fan just like me. He has a right to his opinion just like I do. Even though I think he probably had a little bit too much eggnog tonight. But, it is what it is. But I don't know if I would put Logan Paul as a rookie of the year because he's only had 3 matches. I'm not so certain about it, but maybe you put the match with Roman in maybe an awards, maybe match of the year. You have a list of 10 matches. Maybe I put that match as one of the 10. So, but Logan Paul, I don't think has had enough matches. But those are the matches that we got tonight. As I said earlier, we had New Day doing an interview, putting over the titles, Kofi's, Triple Crown in singles and tag. Bianca Belair, looking to continue, her build and her getting redemption from SummerSlam of last year. Sheamus, Sami Zayn, Drew McIntyre. I love the idea with Gunther, as I said earlier. I think that would be a really fun match to look forward to. I actually would be interested in seeing Kross versus Gunther because I'm a fan of Kross. I mean, obviously it wouldn't make sense right now, but that would be an interesting match going forward. Cody reflecting early this year. Obviously the injury tremendously derailed And that might have been the best thing to happen, as weird as that sounds, because by now, what would have Cody done? How do you drag like 7 months of Cody having to wait until the WrestleMania build to go for the championship? What would have happened to Austin Theory by now? Would Cody Rhodes have been United States champion? Would Austin Theory have had, the push that he did? And they did highlight Austin Theory tonight. Nice video package with Austin Theory. I think Austin Theory benefited from Cody Rhodes' injury. In fact, I would not be surprised if we see a mini feud with Cody and Austin Theory. The only problem is I do not feel you take that United States championship off of him anytime soon. Interesting, Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan, they showed the video package of her, rising to winning the championship. And yes, a lot of people felt that her championship reign was lackluster. But you know what? And I continue saying this, and I know a lot of you disagree with it, but Liv Morgan, when she was working her way to the top, leading into Money in the Bank, she had a lot of people that were behind her that wanted to see her become women's champion. Whether she was ready for that spot or not is obviously another discussion, but she had a lot of momentum going into Money in the Bank. And you look at the reaction when she got the briefcase. Yes, people will pop, for unexpected wins. When she cashed in against Ronda Rousey, it was a tremendous pop. Again, surprise element. People usually pop for surprises. Even if the surprise, once it sinks in, it's like, I don't know about it. That's why, if you notice, I know it's a bad example, but that's why you notice, like when Keith Lee got attacked by that baseball player, they didn't play no music first. Even if you didn't know who he was, they didn't play any they just had him just pop out and just attack. And who is this guy? Where did he come from? Even Parker Boudreaux, you didn't see any music. He hit him from behind, but you didn't even see any teaser. So, when you hit entrance music, somebody comes out and has an impromptu match, beat down, so people will usually pop at that, no matter who it is. We commented about the Toni Storm making the same save for, who was it the other day? It was, it was Hikaru Shida. When she ran down to the ring. At first it was Saraya and then it was Toni Storm. And listen to that reaction. I talked about it on Wednesday Night Dynamite. I mean, whether it was spliced in or not, from the soundboard, you believe what you want to believe. But let's just for a moment say it wasn't. Listen to that reaction when she first came out with that music hit. You would have thought Okada hit the ring. There's a different volume of a pitch that you rarely ever see on TV. It's like when someone comes out that you never in a million years would ever expect. So, but overall, that was your 2022 Best of WWE. 3 hours. I think it was managed very, very well. I like, the appearances from various wrestlers. You look back at 2022, there were quite a few wrestlers that really did not get featured all that much. We didn't see an individual match with Judgment Day, but that's fine. That's fine. They've only just touched the surface. They did show a little video package of certain returns. Io Sky, Dakota Kai, Bayley making a return, Ronda Rousey making a return. People forget Ronda Rousey was off TV for quite some time. Braun Strowman returning. As I said earlier, Karrion Kross returning. So they did show highlights of a lot of wrestlers returning. But there were quite a few wrestlers that obviously did not make the list. I'm a little surprised that we did. But then again, I know what some people are going to say, well, they probably had a lot of this recorded. You thought maybe there would have been a feature of a little more Kurt Angle. I think maybe there's a couple of recent moments that you thought they maybe spent a little bit more time with, but not everything could obviously make the cut. So now we shift to this Friday's SmackDown. And again, Kevin Owens, John Cena versus Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. And that is going to make a shift in this storyline, no question. We have the 2 title matches next Monday on Raw. Not even much with regards to Alexa Bliss. You know, he got a little bit because obviously we have the title match next week, but not as much as you probably would have expected. In my opinion, I expected more towards Bray Wyatt. I mean, I know they showed his return when they showed the puppets and everything. That's Grayson Waller. Yeah, sure. That's Joe Gacy as Huskus the Pig. Gotcha. But there was a couple of things tonight that I was a little surprised. I honestly expected to see a lot of these little Easter eggs returning, because those Easter eggs and those little QR codes and everything, I mean, that was a lot of fun this year. I know it got a little annoying for some of you out there after a little while, but these were, as someone so eloquently put, those were scavenger hunts. And very, very well said. And I kind of missed him a little bit. We still get little ones here and there, but it doesn't feel the same. Let's be honest. Oh, there was a QR code tonight. You look it up, and it's like, yeah, you know, it's just something feels different about it. So, Cody, you know, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing him returning. It's gonna be a very, very good 2023. You know, I hope AEW does the best of. I really do. And I know this is gonna sound very, very shallow. And it's not a shot on anybody in AEW, but I really believe this. I wonder if we don't get a best of 2022, because a lot of people behind the scenes that would set this package up for a special do not want to showcase CM Punk at all. And yes, the way it ended is horrible. It sucks. It shouldn't have ended that way, regardless of who was at fault and who wasn't. Still, it's just the way that it's like a nightmare. And I think I would not be surprised if a best of, maybe they do a DVD. Maybe they do a DVD and they feature him on the DVD. But as far as a televised special, I just don't know if we're going to get one. I don't know if we're going to get one. I just don't. And unfortunately, friends, we don't have really any footage in 2022 where the Elite really got one-ups on CM Punk on camera, other than the mocking after, you know, he was officially gone. So, you know, I hope we get a best of 2022, but I got this weird feeling we may not get one as far as TV goes. Maybe just direct the DVD release. So we'll see what happens. Personally, I think Tony Khan should even consider doing a little Ring of Honor special for 2022. As ridiculous as that may sound to some of you out there, I think that, you know, you do something simple, maybe a one-disc thing if you want to produce it that far. It doesn't cost anywhere near what it used to be. And yes, a lot of people probably don't even know. AEW still does DVDs, and I think that's pretty fucking cool. I mean, I'm not kidding. I'll take a picture and I'll show you next week. I still have probably about 500 DVDs, not including my baseball collection. My baseball collection, I got 7,000 DVDs. But I have about 500 DVDs, and I refuse to throw them away. I refuse to put them up on eBay as a fire sale. I refuse to just give them away. They are taking up so much space in my closet that, you know, there's a lot of skeletons that could be there instead. But no, they're taking up so much space. And, you know, my wife said it to me about a month ago. She's like, why do you have all these videos still? Everything is digital now. You know, my photographer just sent us a 7-minute highlight video from my wedding. And it was beautiful. And it's a Vimeo link. It's not even like on a disc. And he's like, hey, you know, do you know how to burn it to a disc? I'm like, yeah, because my parents still use DVDs. But unfortunately, you know, we're in well, it's not unfortunately, but we're in a digital era now where discs are not necessary. But AEW still sells DVDs. So Kyle is asking me, does CM Punk return? I think CM Punk is going to return for WrestleMania 40. I do. I don't think it'll be the night after WrestleMania. I don't think it'll be the SmackDown after WrestleMania. People, I think, still forget that he had a pretty substantial injury, you know, that he was going to be off TV regardless. I think CM Punk, if he were to work out something with WWE, first of all, I think another year has to go by. I know what some of you are going to say. He's up there in age already. Another year is not very good for him. But you know what? He's coming across in a lot of ways as very, very fragile, you know. And I wonder if it's because he doesn't wrestle as much as far as schedule than he should, even at that age. You know, it's a great example. I know some of you are going to think I'm ridiculously stupid for saying this, but if you let it sink in for me, you're going to be like, DT, that's an excellent analogy. I still have a 1991 Lincoln Mark 7 LSC special edition. It's a car, 1991 LSC. I always wanted one when I was a kid. And I fucked up in school, and, you know, I could have gotten that as a gift from my dad. He would have bankrolled the house, mortgaged the house to get it for me. I got it. I have it for 20-something years now, all right? It's been in my garage for the last 9 months. I only used it maybe once in the last 9 months. So 2 weeks ago, I had to get a bunch of brake work done on my truck and tires and a few other things. So I didn't have the truck for about 4 days. So I charged the battery up. I took it out of the house. I drove to a customer's house to pick up a check. And when I went back into my car to start the car up, it wouldn't start. It would just click, click, click. And I'm like, I just charged the battery. And then I realized something was up with the starter. Then I go to roll a window down to go to a drive-thru at the bank, and my window doesn't roll down. A few minutes later, it did. Here's my point. Sometimes when something is older, if you don't use it that often, it starts to shut down on you. And I can't tell you how many times my mechanic has said to me over the last bunch of years, you know, you got to use that car every so often. Start the car up, drive it around, go for a few blocks. If you just let it sit and sit and sit, that things are going to start failing on you, things are going to stick. And once I drove that for 2 or 3 days, then it was fine. So my point is that CM Punk, you know, when people say, oh, you know, he's got to cut down his schedule, you know, so he doesn't get injured, I think it's the opposite. I think the more the ligaments stretch and they're used to stretching again, and you could do exercises, you could work out in the gym, you could run a treadmill, it's not the same. I think the more, I'm not saying he should wrestle every single week, but I think the more often that he gets in the ring and starts working, I think the better he actually could be. But I still don't think CM Punk will return anytime soon. I think a build to WrestleMania is the way to go, unless it's SummerSlam of next year, because SummerSlam's turning into very, very big events, especially Nick Khan, and, you know, they want to have 60, 70,000 seat buildings next year. And personally, if you're going to work out a deal with CM Punk, even if it's one appearance, make sure it's not too long after a Saudi Arabia event. You know, because I can only imagine him doing interviews of people bringing up, like, what are your thoughts of WWE still having a relationship with Saudi Arabia? I mean, what do you say? You know, CM Punk is not going to be politically correct just because he's got a little deal with WWE. So if you work out something with him for a short period of time, maybe just WrestleMania, you got to make sure that there's nothing too much before or afterwards. So, all right. So with that said, I think we're going to start bringing this home soon. So just a reminder, everyone, once again, you know, tonight's episode is brought to you by Manscaped. My friends, if you go to manscaped.com right now, they have 2 new items. It is the Preserve Cologne and the Preserve Body Wash. And remember, New Year's Eve, less than a week away, the ball will drop here in New York City. So why not lead into 2023 and have your, you know, your private areas nice, groomed, clean. So when your balls drop, you aren't embarrassed. You have the Performance Package 4.0. You get the lawnmower, which basically trims the hedges a little bit. You get the ear and nose shaver. It's called the Weed Whacker. So when you have those little loose hairs, you want to clean that. Believe me, they do stand out. And then you got to remember, even if you trim down there, and even though everything might look nice, and hey, I'm ready for my New Year's Eve balls to drop, you know, you might still smell like a septic tank. So you got to go to Manscaped, and you got to get their body wash. You got to get their cologne. This way, everything not only looks good, but it smells good. And I know I don't ever worry about scents or anything like that. But hey, you know, you might meet someone, spur in a moment. And the last thing you want to do is have someone say, you know, I got the sudden urge to have like a feta cheese omelet. So if you go to Manscaped and you type in the promo code Don Tony. Where are you? There you go. You get 20% off. You get free shipping. And what we're going to do in March is we're going to have the ultimate package. And that is the total package for your package. It retails on Manscaped right now for over $150. And anybody who does place an order between now and March 1st, if you email me a screenshot of your order, I don't need your address, just show me your name and show me that you used the promo code Don Tony. You will be in on a drawing, and the drawing will be just for those who use the promo code Don Tony. And the first week in March, I will be drawing a name live on the show, and someone is going to win a package worth almost $200. And you do what you want with it. You know, if you already have Manscaped items, hey, you got more. You want to give it to someone as a gift, you want to throw it on eBay, you do whatever you want with it. So, but manscaped.com, enter the promo code Don Tony, 20% off, free shipping. Can't go wrong. So, all right. Previews. AEW Dynamite this Wednesday. They're calling it New Year's Smash, I believe. We got Ethan Page versus Bryan Danielson. The Death Triangle, remember, it is a must-lose. The Death Triangle, it's not a must-win for the Elite. There is a big difference. It is Falls Count Anywhere. They are going 7. They have to go 7. We explained why yesterday. But we have the Death Triangle versus the Elite, Falls Count Anywhere. I'm hoping that the final match will be a cage match. It's got to be something involving a cage. I think that will be the most memorable one of them all. We got Ruby Soho and Willow. I almost said William. Willow Nightingale. They will be taking on Ty Mello and Aaron J. Samoa Joe will be defending the TNT Championship against Wardlow. And then we have Top Flight. 300. Wait, are they 100,000 each richer? Top Flight taking on Claudio Castagnoli and Jon Moxley. And it's pretty funny to see the build-up for Dynamite this Wednesday, and the first thing you see on their commercials is Swerve Strickland and the fake cinder block on Keith Lee's tummy. That was a fascinating segment last week. To me, it was wrestle crap to the fullest, but as I said last week, it was so bad that I liked it. I actually thought it was funny. Me, you know me. I love the movie Spaceballs. Like, I love The Naked Gun. I love Police Squad. I love Adventures of Ford Fairlane. I love stupid humor. So sometimes something is so bad it's good. That's what that came across to me. It made Keith Lee look like such a dope. You got this big burly rapper. You know, you got Swerve Strickland. Keep your eyes in the back of your head. Listen, you, my mother, my wife, a dog, a neighbor, a stranger. If somebody said to me right now, hey, Anthony, DT, de Blasi, fat fuck, keep your eyes behind the back of your head. You know what the first thing I do? Keith Lee is looking around like, Triple H, my contract runs out in 14 months. It did not help Keith Lee at all. That will be haunting him forever. So, you're a big motherfucker. You're a big motherfucker. I can't criticize Rick Ross. Like I said, to me, he looks like you bought Isaac Hayes on Wish. Seriously. He looks like Isaac Hayes. He just doesn't sing like Isaac Hayes. I've said many times before, I know this will piss people off out there, but if I died and went to heaven right now and God said to me, hey, we're going to reincarnate you as a black person, who do you want to be? I would say, you know what? Bring me back as Isaac Hayes. I've said that for 20 years. Bring me back as Isaac Hayes. And you know what? Bring me back in 1981 so I can feel what it was like for him to be the Duke of New York. So, seriously, I mean, you know, there are other people that I would love, you know, to meet, to idolize. But if I were to die and come back as a black man, I want to come back as Isaac Hayes. I just mean that with the utmost sincerity. That guy was gangster, man. That guy, if a lot of you out there, you know, most of you will know him from what? South Park? Is that where he was from, you know, The Voice? I think it was South Park, right? But, yeah, Isaac Hayes, man, he was a man. Isaac Shaft. You're damn right. All right, guys, we're at exactly an hour and 1 minute. So I think we're going to start heading home. This Wednesday, I will announce the winner of the predictions contest. Someone is going to get the pre-order for the AEW video game. So once I announce the winner, you have, a couple of days, 5 days to email me or DM me your shipping address and what platform you want the game from. This way, as soon as it ships out, you'll be one of the first to get it. And we'll announce that winner on Wednesday. So, Wednesday should be a pretty easy show as well. Now, NXT, yeah, we got to mention NXT because we got NXT tomorrow. It is pre-recorded. I'm not going to give you spoilers, but the match listing is pretty good. You have Wes Lee defending the NXT North American Championship against Tony D'Angelo. We have Julius Creed versus JD McDonough. Wendy Chu versus Cora Jade. Scripps will be taking on Ikemen Hero. Laya Valkyria versus Last Legend. Very interesting there. The Schism, minus The Rock's daughter. They will be taking on Idris Enofi, Malik Blade, and Odyssey Jones. And then we have Fallon Henley taking on Kiana James. Kiana James. How many of you look at her and just remind you of Stephanie? You know what she reminds me of? You remember when Stephanie was in that, that TV show that she did makeup and you didn't know it was her, Undercover Boss, I think it was called. If that girl had brown hair, that's Kiana James. The funny thing about Kiana James, and I know people are going to think I'm nuts when I say this, but if you ever notice when Kiana James, sometimes with her facial features, do you ever see Stephanie? And you'll notice this now when I say it. Stephanie, when she smiles and she goes like this, there's certain wrinkles around the bridge of her nose. And if you ever look at Kiana James and some of her facial reactions, she's got that identical thing with her nose that Stephanie does. And she already looks a lot like Stephanie McMahon. And then you see that, you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll be like, oh, fuck, that's pretty wild. So Wednesday, I'm going to talk about the situation with, what's his face? Oh, shit. God, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, Quincy Elliott. Yeah, I did the research, everyone. Quincy Elliott, I don't want to give too much away right now, but it seems like he's getting the Velveteen Dream treatment right now. And no, he did not have any late night conversations with underage wrestling fans. But one thing that I'm seeing going on right now is people out there that are accusing him of saying some things. He denied it, and that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And there's some really fucked up shit going on right now online. I don't want to say right now what I think Quincy Elliott said and what he didn't say, but I will say this. There is some weird shit going on right now with a certain class of people online that want to see this guy's wrestling career over. And it's like, if he's saying some horrible things about his coworkers, then you know what? You let Cameron Grimes punch him in the fucking mouth. You get, Zoe Stark to kick him in the nuts. You have the people that they claim he's talking, let them confront him. There's some weird shit going on right now that you may not even be aware of, but we'll tackle it on Wednesday. And when I get done with it, you're going to realize there is a very odd class of people online. And it has nothing to do with race or sexuality or gender or anything. I'm talking about people out there that, get this, idea about someone like they want to be judge, jury, and executioner. And even when there is a possibility where it may not be what they think it is, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. It's either guilty or nothing. And there's some people out there that are retweeting this, hashtagging WWE, sending DMs to wrestlers. I know you know what I'm talking about, some of you, but we'll get into it on Wednesday. So, all right. So I'm going to get out of here. And if you have any questions or comments, stemming from tonight's show, post it in the comment section. I will answer them. I will definitely have some extra time tonight, working on the show for Wednesday and getting into a few things as well. As of right now, I believe I will be doing a live stream on New Year's Eve. It's not 100% yet. I will know by Wednesday. So by Wednesday night, I'll make the announcement either yes or no. I will be here New Year's Day. There's no question. And, remember, I'm supposed to be here 11 a.m. on Saturday. So if I do a show on Saturday, it's not going to be at 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. So there's a lot of things I have to think about. So I might do a live stream and we'll just hang out. Like, there's not going to be, if you want to talk wrestling, we'll talk wrestling, but that's not going to be a stream that's going to be replayed on audio or Patreon or anything like that. If we do something New Year's Eve at the stroke of midnight, it'll just be casual convo. Nothing, I'm not going to sit here and, get into a whole list of topics unless you want to talk about stuff. So, all right, guys, it's been real. Much love as always. And don't forget, please, let me know. Be honest. Do you want me to bring Misha Montana on to talk about the Matt Riddle situation? Obviously, let's make this clear. I'm not stupid, and she's not stupid either. There's nothing about it that makes me think she's stupid. She ain't going to come out there and say, yes, he did this. No, he didn't do this. She's not going to talk for him. But some of the things that are being thrown out there that you could tell are widely exaggerated by the dumpster fires, she might have some answers to that. So, don't expect me to break down major news that you heard it here first, straight from his girlfriend. He didn't do this or he did this or he's I don't get personal like that. It's not my business. If they want to tell me, then obviously I'll listen, but it's none of my business. Especially if the person that it involves doesn't want to talk about it. Well, I don't think it's any of my business. So we'll see. Let me know. Post it in the comment section. So, my friends, it's been real. Have a great night, everyone. All the best. And I will catch you all again.
As far back as I can remember.
Stop cutting me off, damn it. Stop cutting me off. That son of a bitch keeps cutting me off all of a sudden. We have the whole 2022 with no problems at all. And that motherfucker. Somebody asked me about the dog in the picture. That's my dog. That dog, did you see me? I'm not going to get all crying right now. I won't. But my dog that I put to sleep several years ago, and it was right before I had to do a Monday show as well. When that person made the video for me, I showed him pictures of my dog, and I said, please, do a little tribute to my dog. So when you see that video and you see that dog sleeping, yeah, it's my dog. He'll always be tributed on these shows. So be well, everybody.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a podcaster. For me to live any other way was nuts. To me, those goody-good people who worked shitty jobs for bum paychecks and took the subway to work every day and worried about their bills were dead. They were suckers. They had no balls. If I wanted something, I just took it. I ran everything. I paid the bills. I paid the hosts. I even paid the masked maniac. Everybody had their hands out. Everything was for the taking. We always called each other good fellas. You would always hear from somebody. You're gonna like Don Tony. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us. But if you're part of my crew, nobody ever tells you they're gonna get rid of you. It doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your haters come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've claimed they care the most for your life. And now that's all over. And that's the best part. Today everything is different. There's lots of action. I don't have to wait around for everything like everyone else. Oh, I didn't get the vaccine? Fuck you, vaccine me. Oh, your delivery guy has COVID? Fuck you, feed me. Right after I moved here, I ordered egg noodles and ketchup, and I got spaghetti with meat sauce. I'm no longer an average nobody, while they get to live the rest of their lives like a bunch of schnooks.